G'day there, everyone. Hope you're all doing fantastically today. Welcome to the live show, 12 o'clock Perth, Western Australia time. Here with Serena again. How are you doing today, Serena?
Well, I'm doing pretty good actually. Just I'm pretty honoured to be on here with you. Something different for a change, the two of us together. So this is going to be fun.
Exactly. So you're going to get nothing but banter, fun, excitement, and we're going to tease a little bit today, but we're also going to share with you guys the 4 different personality types. And this is what I've learned over the last 13 years as to different personality types. And then we're going to represent all of this today as to, if you know what personality type you are, how you can then bring in other personality types to complement yourself and amplify your skills and move your business forward. And it's just a question of whether you either hire, go into business, or even potentially look at outsourcing, bringing the right people in to be able to help your business move forward faster. Because let's face it, right? And Serena, we both have realized this as well, right? It's like many hands make of light work, right? You can get so much more done when there's more people around, correct?
Oh, definitely. If you try to do everything yourself, it just sort of gets a little bit impossible sometimes, as well as you and I know recently, with the stuff that we're trying to do. So reaching out to outsourcing is really important, and reaching out to the right type of outsourcing is even more important.
100%. Because I know for a lot of people that are here, a lot of people are, just doing things by themselves at the moment, doing the best that they can, sort of working out, okay, this is what I got to do to move my business forward. This is what I must do in order to, I've got to, build my network, I've got to do marketing, I've, got to speak to more people today. I've got sales conversations. I've got marketing that I must do. I've got, what's going to be my strategy for my marketing? What's going to be my sales strategy for my business? What's my unique selling proposition for my business? I'm looking at hiring people, but I've got no money, or whatever the questions are that a lot of you are probably going through right now. It's like there's answers to all of this, because you've really got to understand what you really, as a business owner, we've got to understand how we operate. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how do we operate? What one of these 4 main personality types do we fit into? And once we know what personality type we fit into, it's like a question of what support are we going to get to be able to help us get there? Because you want to go through, and Serena is like a master of outsourcing, by the way. She's been doing this for a very, very long time now. How long have you been outsourcing now, Serena? Right, long friggin' time.
Oh gosh, I have to say probably 10 years.
Yeah, so like a third of my lifetime, Serena's been doing this, right? I've been around for 32 years, and Serena's been doing this for 10 years, right? Outsourcing. And
I started when I was 20.
Sorry?
I started when I was 20.
Started when you were 20, okay? So that was even longer ago. That was even longer ago then. So you really got to understand what your personality type is, so that you can really start looking at these outsourcing options, right? And I know people, when they talk outsourcing, they're talking how can I get a virtual assistant for, $10 an hour, $8 an hour, or whatever that is, right? However, in a large spectrum of that, it comes with risks involved, and it's is that really what you need in order to get that task done? Because it's not always straight towards the outsourcing and a virtual assistant to be able to move yourself forward. There's other additional ways to be able to do it, which we're going to be speaking about today. But it also comes down to, you got to understand what your personality type is as a person, so that you can then go, okay, this is what I'm like as a person. This is what I should be focusing on as my best in world skill. Because I tell you this, right? If you start focusing on and doing more of what you're really good at, the business will move forward a lot faster. It's just about getting other people that are really good at the stuff that you're not good at, and you're going to find that you'll get some extreme growth quite quickly in your business. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, is we're going to be diving deeper into this side of things. And I know, Serena, you've probably been learning about a lot of this over the years as well, as to how important it is. Like, how important do you think it is as well, like having other people around you that complement you, right? Like, have you've experienced a lot of this over the years as well? That you've been in business?
I first experienced like working on my own is the hardest. So you're doing everything, and you don't actually, I mean, you have certain people to do certain things, but there's other stuff that you know, it might start to get to a point where you can't afford to have a continual, like a 10-team person doing each and everything. Now, also, if you're a perfectionist, sometimes it's a bit hard as well, because you don't trust other people to do certain things, because you think you're the only one that's capable of doing it the way you want it done, in the eyes of your perfection. So I was sort of dealing with that quite a bit. And also, being the type of person I was, it was really hard for me to also train an outsourcer in what I wanted, because that was taking a lot of time while I was still doing everything myself. Yeah. So having the right people around you to then be able to spend some time with someone to get them to where you want them, that you could trust them to do the work you want, and I'm talking the, you know, $8 outsourcing, is doable then. But if not, then sometimes you're not training them properly, they're not giving you the quality of work that you want, and then it creates more work for you, and it can get a little bit frustrating. So the training of it's important, and knowing that they have a system to follow. Then you've also got to make sure that they're loyal enough to stay around long enough, you know, so that you can just keep going. Otherwise, as I think we know, someone just recently has to go through retraining someone now on stuff that's, you know, important to their business.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like all of this fits into the spectrum of your business's growth, right? And it's knowing when it's appropriate for you to actually get outsourcing teams to help you with things, and when it's appropriate to look not for outsourcers as well, right? So there's an appropriate time to look for an outsourcer to do certain tasks. There's an appropriate time to not look for an outsourcer to do certain tasks. And first of all, it all comes down to really understanding these 4 different personality types and where you fit into the spectrum. So the first type of personality types that you could fit into as a business owner is the visionary. Now, the visionary has some pros to them. They also have some cons as well, right? So I'm going to be running through the pros of this particular personality type and how you can discover if this is you. And then I'm going to run through the cons as well. So the visionary is someone who is very, very clear on where it is that they're going. So they're very goal orientated. They're the types of people that know where they want to take the business. And they know sort of big picture what those steps are. So these types of people are very big picture. And they're the types of people that will go, okay, we need to generate this many amount of leads. This is the overarching strategy that we're going to be doing. This is, you know, how much team we're going to need. We're going to need to be connected with this amount of people, right? They're very big picture visionaries, okay? So they're like, you know, 10 years from now, this is what we're going to have. We're going to have 100 staff. We're going to be, you know, operating a $10 million business. We're going to be having this many clients on board by then. They're very big picture, and they know exactly where they're going with things, okay? They're also, they also can be very good salespeople as well, right? Presenting to groups of people, all that type of stuff as well. Visionaries are the big picture sort of understanding of where the business is going and exactly what's going to happen. And they can enroll people in that vision and get people excited about that vision as well. So they've got an element of where they're really, really good at sales as well, and bringing people on board with that vision, right? So every business should have a visionary within it. Then, you know, there's a lot of positives about these particular, you know, visionaries around why you should have them on board, because they are very good with those big picture and where you're going and everything like that. Now, the cons to the visionary is they, you know, they run 10 miles ahead and they leave a bit of a trail of destruction behind them.
Who do you know that's a visionary?
I wonder who that is. So they leave a trail of destruction behind themselves because they're not really good at cleaning the mess up. They're not as good with the details. They can get people really, really excited about the vision and everything, and then they move on to the next thing because they're so 10 miles ahead. And it fits into, you know, I don't know whether you guys have heard of the HOTS training, right? The HOTS personality types. They would be classed as the hare that's jumping 10 million miles ahead, and they're leaving a trail of destruction behind them, right? So you got to have the visionaries in place because they're the people that enroll people in the vision, they get people excited about it, and they get people on board with it, which is really, really important from a cultural standpoint in the business. However, you need then a complementary skill of somebody else to be able to clean up the mess. Otherwise, you're going to be forever reselling, on-selling, and bringing people in. And then there's going to be no back-end systems or anything to be that are getting taken care of in order to get there, right? So the first one is that visionary person that's very, very good at, you know, enrolling people in the vision and everything. However, leaves a trail of destruction behind, which is the cons of the visionary. So you may be fitting into that point at the moment, and you might be growing the business. However, without these three other personality types I'm going to be speaking to you about today, you'll never live your full potential as a visionary. So the second one you must have is like your operational engineer, right? So it's your engineer that you would have on board. So these people would be very, very good at tech. They're very, very good at the details, right? So a visionary that has an engineer on board, the engineer would be piecing the pieces of the puzzle together, cleaning up the mess of the visionary. So they can't really see forward 10 steps like the visionary can. The engineer sees the steps from what the path that the visionary has given them, okay? So the visionary is giving them the big picture, the higher level strategy, how that's going to fit, and then the engineer is going to be physically implementing and piecing the puzzle together, okay? So this person is going to be putting the systems in place. They're going to be putting the pieces of the puzzle together, implementing those pieces of puzzle, commonly an introvert type personality as well, right? Whereas the visionary is more of an extrovert, okay? And they're piecing that bigger picture together as to what that looks like, and the engineer is implementing it, okay? So a visionary is looking so much further ahead, and the engineer is piecing the puzzle together. So it's like, and cleaning up the mess of the engineer. So if you're a visionary at the moment, right, you need somebody who's an engineer that can piece those pieces of the puzzle together. If you are an engineer, then you must have the visionary to give you the bigger picture as to what you must be doing so you can piece those pieces of the puzzle together. Naturally, what happens there is you complement each other's skills, therefore will help move forward faster. And because there's now two people involved, right? Because there's now two people involved, what's actually happening is you're getting 2 times the amount of work done quicker. Therefore, move forward again, ahead faster. As the common statement is, many hands make of light work. What was normally 50 hours that one person can do, now you've got 2 people doing 50 hours, so that's now 100 hours of work getting done every week. Like I spoke about in previous lives, last week, we were talking around buying yourself time as a business owner, buying back time to grow and scale. Today, we're talking about the different personality types that fit into this so that you can find the person that complements you. So you must have an engineer, and that's the second one as well. So the cons of the engineer is they can't see the bigger picture. They need somebody to give them the bigger picture so that they can fit those pieces of the puzzle together, right? They're very good at problem solving, and they're very good at getting the little gritty details implemented. So that's the second. The third one is the connector, right? So it's now the person that is sitting in on these meetings. They've got a very good network. They're very good at sales. They're very good at creating relationships, okay? So these people, they have very big networks. They're very connectors. They're very good talkers. They're they're good at articulating a message to somebody. They're a connector. Okay, so they'll sit in on these meetings. The visionary will be giving the bigger picture and sort of painting the picture as to where we're going. They'll get the engineer excited because the engineer will be cleaning up the mess and putting the dots together, taking the notes, and helping implement that. And then the connector will be sitting there going, okay, now that who can I connect you with? Who do we need on board as well to be able to help with this project as well? Because they got very big networks, they're very good salespeople, they're very good at networking and meeting new people and growing their network and fostering those types of relationships. Then these connectors are the types of people that will bring in more revenue for your business, and they'll be able to cultivate relationships and very, very good at holding those relationships as well. So these people you would be bringing in as aspects to your business where they're dealing with, current clients that you do have, right? So there'll be two elements to these people. They'll be dealing with current clients that you've got. They'll be cultivating those relationships, bringing those people and creating long-term relationships, staying in touch with these people regularly, fostering them, helping them move forward, working out what problems they have and solving those problems of those connections that you've got within that relationship. And basically they'll be your relationship managers, they'll be your client coordinators, and they'll be doing the bigger picture stuff as well around bringing in new clients as well. So that's like the couple of elements there that they'll have as part of that. So you must have a connector there to be able to connect the dots of holding clients and the other side as well of bringing in new people through the relationships, joint ventures, all this type of stuff. The fourth person out, so the cons, I'll work through the cons of the connector. The connector is not necessarily good at the details. They're very good talkers. They probably don't take a lot of notes, right? They don't take a lot of notes at all. They have it all in their mind. They're not very good with paperwork. The connectors are the types of people that are just very good at talking, very good at pitching products and services, very good at building networks and meeting new people. They like the face-to-face contact, preferably, or they're very also good at speaking on the phone, okay? So this is what the connectors are really, really good at. That's their best in world skill. Whereas, when it comes to paperwork, right, they're not a details person either. So when it comes to the paperwork side of things, it's a bit of a challenge or a block for them as well. It's like, that's not their best in world skill. So if you're a connector and you're really good at all this other stuff, then, you will grow your business to a certain extent, that there'll become a point where you'll need a visionary in place. You'll need an engineer in place to be able to help you connect the dots and get a bigger vision as to where things are going. So you can focus on what you're best at, which is cultivating your relationships, bringing more people on board, selling, growing relationships for the business. Because look, relationships are everything in business as well. You must have somebody in that's a connector. So that's the connector. The fourth one is the organizer, right? Now, the organizer is somebody who not necessarily is good, like SERENA is an organizer as well, right? She's so good at organizing. There was a conversation with, to give you guys a bit of an idea, I mentioned this earlier, right? Like SERENA, she knew that I wasn't having lunch breaks and stuff. Well, I was so booked out. I'm like a connector. I'm a visionary and a connector. And I can cultivate myself into the engineering role, and I'm like a multitask. I can do all of this, but like my best is the connector visionary, right? So it's like SERENA, the other day, she just goes, Jarrod, I've put into your calendar a lunch break that you can have. And I've set that aside every single day after the show that we run every day. So that you can have some food and have time for a bit of a breather to reconnect your energies and move forward for the rest of the day, right? So it's like that part of it was super, super amazing. And it's like, if we're running any events, she'll organize the whole friggin' thing. She'll look at venues. She'll look at, what's going to be the best price. She'll look at negotiating that type of stuff, organizing it all, putting it all in place. Hey, you've got this today, you got that today, you got this today, you got this. This has come up from your emails. This has come up from your emails. This has come up from your emails. Because I don't
like a bloody secretary. God.
Yeah. So, I know, right? But like that's an element of, because I am a connector and I move things forward, I am a bit of a visionary and I run 10 miles ahead. She cleans up this side of stuff and she organizes, right? So you've got to have the organizer in your team too, because they are generally virtual assistants. They are generally PAs. They are generally supporters, and they can do a lot of the detailsy work and so on as well, right? So very, very good at the detailsy stuff, right? And very, very good at, making calls if calls need making and organizing things. So you got to have an organizer in the group as well, because as the visionary is talking 10 miles ahead, it's giving direction. As the engineer is implementing everything, the steps that the visionary is leaving as a mess, the engineer is cleaning up the mess. And then you've got the connector that's connecting more people and pieces of the puzzle, and what are we going to need to support wise, and how are we going to support the clients? How are we going to be able to bring in more people, networking, meeting new people consistently, the connectors doing what they're really good at, the organizers going, cool, connector, here's an event you can go to. Connector, here's another event you can go to. Connector, here, I've organized all of this for you so that I've done your paperwork. I've, done this side of things to be able to help you move forward, right? And that's what the organizer's done. And all four of these personality types work hand in hand to be able to help you move forward faster. Because now, like, you can run a business just with these four main people, and you can run it to 500,000, 1 million, couple of million, whatever that is, right? And you can continue to, every single project that you put in place, have these four personality types on board so that you can move yourself forward faster. Because
so going back, Jarrod, I just want to touch on, like, you were talking about, you're the visionary, and I just was making me think about sometimes when we're going over some stuff and you start going into your 10 months ahead type of process. And I mean, I'm big picture, so I'm not too sure what the difference is between big picture and visionary. I can think like quite a distance ahead, but when I'm working on the actual thing, I have to be in the moment of focusing on what's in the now, even though you're going that far ahead. So so it's just sort of you can have the both, but if you're working it on at the time, the focus has to be sort of at the time. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, and that's because you're an organizer, right? / engineer. So it's like you get the bigger picture and everything, but it's like, this is what I'm working on now. I want to do this one task first, get this one task completed, right? So it's like your detailsy there to a certain extent, where you want to get done what you're doing first before you move on to the next step. So it's like you're a step-by-step person. Because when I go and speak 10 steps ahead, you're still on the first step and you're not hearing the other 9 out of 10.
You've just gone running forward ahead. And I'm like, whoa, hang on a sec, come back here. Yeah. Let me get this one correct in my brain. Otherwise, and that's where overwhelm comes in for some people, like that discussion we just had before. And that was another question as well too. So you're in a business and you're on your own, so you've got no choice, you've got to do the whole lot yourself. So how can you organize yourself to be those 4 different types of people and have everything, as much as organized as you can? Because we both well know that, especially if you're a vibrator and you've got so many creative things coming through your head, you get off track a bit. People can call it procrastination, and it is like a procrastination, but not the procrastination of where you're sitting on a couch doing something. It's a procrastination of where you're trying to do everything and be everyone, and therefore they have to do something else to get themselves into a situation, and they may not be able to afford to be paying out, wages, maybe, yes, to an outsourcer or something, but what sort of things should they outsource if that's a situation?
Yeah, 100%. Good questions, right? I'm glad you brought up procrastination because each four of these personality types have procrastination, right? So every single one of you will procrastinate over certain things. So there's an element of where you would outsource certain parts of it and you wouldn't outsource certain parts of it. Some parts of it you would get a VA, some parts of it you wouldn't get a VA for it, right? And you would be able to talk a lot more on the VA side, Serena, because you've been doing it for the last 20 years as well. So 10 years, was it? 10 or 20? 10? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a third of my lifetime, wasn't it? So I'm just...
I made a joke. I said I've been doing it for 10 years and I started when I was 20.
And you started in 20, yeah.
Hello?
So you've been, I'm just going to say you've been doing it a third of my lifetime, right? Because it sounds like a long time.
Yeah. Well, you're 45, so...
So Serena's been doing this a third of my lifetime now, and she knows a lot more about it because she's been doing it a third of my lifetime.
Yeah, you're hinting at something there. But listen, I want to just try and be serious about this, if that's possible.
Yeah, okay. Let's be more serious.
It was funny the other day, remember when we had that phone conversation with a client, and when he got off, I said, you know, because we were sort of doing their back-end marketing, and I said to you, oh my God, he said that I was like a VA, he's outsourcer, you know, outsourcing. And I felt funny because I didn't see myself as an outsourcer because I had outsourcers. And therefore, I then realized, well, hang on, there's different levels of outsourcing. So, so can you help explain that sort of different type of thing? Because that was a new thing, because people do outsource us to do their marketing, but I never saw it as us being outsourcers in that sense.
We are essentially outsourcers, right? Like that's where we implement campaigns for people, right? So like the visionaries, for example, the visionaries, they know the big picture, they know where they're going, but they suck at like the implementational side, like doing the engineering work, which is putting the details, connecting the dots, etc. So like, say for example, you put a visionary behind a desk, and the job for that visionary is to put in place their email marketing system, okay? So putting together all the emails, retyping all the emails, and putting them in place with the tech. The visionary will procrastinate over that because they can't see the finer details. They know the big picture of where they want to go, but they'll procrastinate over the implementational type stuff, right? Of, you know, writing the emails, how should they be articulated, that type of stuff. The visionary won't see a lot of these details. So hence, that's why it's the engineer's role, because the engineer will just go, okay, cool, let's do this. All the engineer's got to do is up-level their skills around that particular one to know what they're going to do in terms of the implementation of that particular task, right? So if you're a solopreneur at the moment and you're a visionary, right, you wouldn't necessarily go to a virtual assistant, right, to be able to help you with the engineering tasks around your marketing, right? You would more so go to somebody that is an expert in that field, that does that every single day, that is an engineer or has an engineering personality type within their business, right? So essentially that side of it, a visionary to move forward faster, they would need an engineer in place to be able to do a lot of that implementational side of things to move forward faster.
And I just want to cut in on that too, because I love cutting in on you.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just keep talking and you don't let anybody. That's why I think
I'll still continue talking. Yeah, because you know.
I know you made me lose my spot. So in regards to someone wanting, say, like marketing or social media or something like that, it's there's two different types of what type of social media do you want, which is where you would go to an expert or you would go to a VA outsourcer. So the VA outsourcer, you know, would be very good at making multiple posts every single day, creating graphics for you and all that, but they're not going to have your business knowledge or sense. So it's more on a smaller scale of keeping your social media out there in front of people. But if you want particularly to use your your social media for marketing and really getting you trying to get leads or clients, you need someone who's also a bit of an expert in social media that understands your business, and therefore the posts that are going out are more relevant and will then increase more interaction, to it, rather than just the old system where we used to have, it's probably still do, but like years ago, we used to just people, as long as they post, we're just going to post every day. So put quotes out there, put this, put graphics, whatever. It needs to be a little bit more than that if you want the interaction and the higher marketing of it. I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, of course, definitely. So it's like, with that, it's, I can't say anything about that. That's perfect. Yeah. So it's like, so coming back to the marketing side, right? So like if you're a visionary or you're an engineer or you're a connector or you're an organizer, right? You whatever personality type you are, you gotta work out which one you are. Because if you are more of an organizer, right, like you got to get some direction, you got to get someone to give you a direct order as to what to do if you're an organizer, and then be given tasks to do, and then you will go and do those tasks as an organizer, right? So you really got to understand who you are, and you need to be then working with an engineer, you need a visionary, and you need someone who's more of a connector, right, to be able to do that. So it could be that you go into business partnership with one of these people, right? And you start working with that person every single day, right? It could mean that you hire them into your business, right, as a contractor to work on certain elements of that. It could be that you, so like if you're an organizer, you bring a visionary into your business and you bring an engineer and a connector, right? And you start working with those types of people to help you put those pieces of the puzzle in place. So like when you're deciding, like if you're like, so you're buying time back in certain elements, and you're also buying time back from people that do the other parts that you don't do. So you're buying time from a connector, you're buying time from an engineer, you're buying time from a visionary, right? And it could be just you're hiring a consultant, virtual assistants. So that we'll talk more now on sort of the virtual assistant side of things, when you would hire the virtual assistants, as opposed to when you would probably more so go for like a consultant for a certain aspect of it, right? So talking on the virtual assistant side, if you're wanting to bring in a virtual assistant into your business, you'd be bringing them in for more so like a role of some sort of organizational type thing as well. So organizing things for you. So take, for example, organizing and finding and researching things for your business, right? So what do we use? We use a lot of our outsourcing for SERENA. We use it for a lot of this type of stuff, don't we? So like if there's like some sort of research that we've got to be done, we'll send them out with a task to be able to go through and research certain subjects and pull together PDFs and research documentation.
Yeah. And a lot of, I can probably give it to you because I deal with them more so than you. So I've got the whole thing fresh in my mind, is we do videos, we get different types of videos done, overlays, things like that. We've just got to get the information to them. We do graphics, and we get graphics done. We cut videos as well too when we need to, put an ending on or a beginning, or try and get bits and pieces cut out, so we reduce it. So, we have experts that then can do that, because my stuff is very mild in comparison. We have ebook covers, we get the ebook covers, we get, certain articles when they do the research to write up the articles for us. Sometimes even to the whole process of writing up because I do some health books, so we get the ebooks actually even written up and produced, the whole way. So, there's a lot of things that they can do. You've just got to find the experts that can do it. Yes. And I want to give a tip here as well, while it's fresh in my head, Jarrod, because I was thinking about it. And the biggest thing that, a lot of people have a problem with outsourcing is, and I could bring the word loyalty in here. It's like, sort of you come in, you start one off. They're in a different country, for example, for some people. So, it might be hard to hold your agreement or contract up with them if you bother to put one together. So one way of being able to establish, and it may not work all the time, is because you don't pay them till after they've created the work, but you don't pay them right to the very day. You hold back. So you work for 4 weeks and I'll pay for 3 weeks, and they're still owed a week's wages. And you always keep that week in front, and you'll find they won't disappear as quick as what some of them can do sometimes, if that makes sense. So I want to get that fresh out, because you know what my head's like, being very creative. I'm running everywhere.
Yes. And I'm glad we brought these ones up too, because like a lot of people go, I'm going to bring on a virtual assistant to do all of my marketing for me, or I'm going to bring on a virtual assistant to sort of take care of some of the sales process for me, or I'm going to bring on a virtual assistant to be able to do, you know, some of the higher level sort of business structural stuff for me as well. And I mean, it's all well and great, but like what you got to be thinking of when it comes to bringing on a virtual assistant is there's, you know, we're talking different cultures for starters, right? Bringing on a virtual assistant, it's completely different cultures, completely different, you know, ways of operation. What we use virtual assistants for is we would never use it for the implementation of our marketing, a virtual assistant. We would never use them for anything to do with the business structural stuff or anything to do with the sales process either. Because we've found, and SERENA will be able to give you guys a lot more insights on this as well, because she's been doing this for a third of my lifetime.
I think my outsourcers are watching.
Exactly, right? So we would use them for a lot of the data research and for tasks that we can give it a direct direction and specific outcome that we're after, right? Which is looking over data, getting creative done, if anything, and, you know, a specific task of, you know, maybe sending a message to a specific person, sending an email to someone who's a specific person.
What they're good at, you know, what they can do themselves.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So we would only give things to an outsourcer that we can give a direct order with a direct outcome that we're after. So if it's researching something for us and collating some information that they can quite easily go onto the internet with directions to be able to do and collate into one document and then give to us for final approval, then, you know, a direct direction around how we want that to look creative wise, 2 different people with 2 different tasks that would be.
Yes.
So
that was one of the things that used to get me sometimes, and which is why I didn't really want to deal with just the VA itself, because everyone's interpretation that came to me of a VA was, I want a VA who can do graphics, who can do videos, who can write articles, who can do my social media, who can do all my emails, and can also build my website. And I'm like, you're talking different experts. So it's like everything. When people do training on something or school, they either do IT, which is on websites and things like that, PHP, HTML, WordPress or whatever, or they might be a writer and they become a writer and they write, and maybe they could do part, so they have a little bit they can go towards, say, like social media or something like that. But a writer can certainly not do your changes on your website, and your web editor can certainly not write articles for you. So people wanted one person to do the whole lot, and it's like, it just doesn't work out. If you can get someone that can do bits and pieces and you're happy with the how do I word the quality of what they're not expert at, then that's okay. But, you know, sometimes you're talking 3 people.
Yes. So it's like, you've got to be really specific. So when you're looking for a virtual assistant, you're not looking for a virtual assistant to be able to run all of your marketing for you and all that type of stuff. You're not looking for one that will do all of your websites. You're not looking for one that will do all of your landing pages. You're not looking for one that will do all of your emails and have that one person to do all of that, because literally you're looking for a unicorn, right? Unicorns are real, right? You can find unicorns, right, in the world.
My boyfriend's a unicorn.
Exactly, right? So there is some unicorns out there, right, that are good at everything. Like me, I'm a bit of a unicorn, okay? Serena's a unicorn as well, right? So we are out there, okay? So don't go, oh my God, right? There's no unicorns around. Unicorns are real, right? However, if you're looking for a virtual assistant to do all of this sort of stuff for you, you're going to be searching and going through a lot of virtual assistants in order to get there. And a mentor of mine said this best. He said that you're going to go through 21 people, right, to find that unicorn. Minimum 21 people.
Wow, you didn't tell me you went through 21 people before me.
Well, yeah, there's 21 people that will go through to find you, Serena, you know. So the unicorns are real, guys, except you'll go through 21 people to find the right person that can do the one task, by the way. So if you're looking to hire virtual assistants, you'll be finding them to do that they're good at one thing. So if you're finding one that you want to do for websites, bear in mind, if you get them for websites, you've got to give them extreme direction, right? And you've still got to have an understanding as to how to write the copy. You've still got to have an understanding as to how to write the creative and all that type of stuff when you are looking for a virtual assistant to do your website specifically. And they are not necessarily going to be the type of person that you are after to be able to do all the creative for the website. You would find another virtual assistant for the creative, okay? So you're going to be hiring 2 virtual assistants for that, right?
And they can probably cover a lot of stuff as well too, but just be aware that not one can do the whole lot.
Exactly. And that's what you've found over the last third of my lifetime as well, Serena, right?
I built teams, you know, so that I had the experts in each team. So I had SEO team, I had social media team, I had a web development team, I had writers, you know, so there was always something that would cover, you know, each section. And then what we used to do sometimes is just allocate each job to the right team, and the person was just dealing with us.
Yeah. So, and this is specifically what you guys are looking for, right? You're not looking for virtual assistants to do everything. You're looking for ones to do specific tasks, okay? So if one of them is, you know, interaction, or one of them's looking after payments and chasing up payments, you're looking for them for specific tasks. And if you're looking for virtual assistants to be able to do, you know, your social media, you wouldn't be after them to do your whole social media full stop. You wouldn't be after them to do your marketing or anything. You'd be after them to do the posts for your page, right? And somebody else to give them the creative to be able to do it. So you're looking for 2 people.
Yeah.
If it comes to marketing and everything, right, I would be looking at hiring a consultant for that can take care of all of your paid marketing for you. And you'd be looking at paying them good money to do it for you as well, right? Someone that has the proven results, someone that is able to be able to give you the full spectrum of, you know, what must be done in order to get a result, right? I'd be paying that consultant for it. If you're in very, very early stages of business, you would be wanting to be able to find someone that can teach you that in the early stages, because you may not have the investment to be able to just outsource that to someone straight away, a consultant, because it's not going to make sense, right? What will make more sense is paying a few thousand for a consultant over a certain period or coaching program or whatever, and then directing what you would normally spend over every month back into marketing instead, because it's going to make more sense to do it that way. Instead of paying, you know, $3,000-$5,000 a month for someone to do it for you, I would spend, you know, $3,000 or $4,000 over a 90-day period, or $5,000 over a 90-day period, and direct the rest consistently over the next 12 months back into marketing to build your brand instead, because it makes more sense.
Brings up another question as well, because it was something that we were talking about the other day with a client, and he was bringing his business over to us because even the other client was, I think it was so-so, but there was a few things that weren't quite working for him. So how does someone actually, you know, I mean, we know what we're like and other people know what they're like. How does someone find someone before they have to, you know, spend money to be able to put the trust in that? What are the tips and things to, you know, and this is, I mean, just being really right out there without saying, hey, we're great, you know, which I know we are anyway, but people aren't going to know that on the other side. What do they need to do to be able to find people like us or someone else in whatever industry they need them to do, and have that trust and know they're going to do the right job before they invest the money?
Good question. Really good question. It all comes down to research, right? Like you want to find somebody that is good at something. You've really got to do your research, right? So it's like when it comes to marketing and sales and things like that, you want to make sure, number one, people are practicing what they preach, right? So a really good way to be able to test is to opt into their thing and see how quickly they get in contact with you, see how good the back end of their funnel and everything like that is as well, right? Have a look at a little bit of the message and stuff like that, right? But I mean, that's still important, but you would opt into like their funnel or something like that first, right? And see how quick the systems and things like that work, right? Because if you're going to get someone else to do this for you, you want to make sure that they're practicing what they preach first, okay? So that's one thing that I always do, is I want to have a look at, you know, what they're like. If I'm going to hire someone that's doing this, I want to make sure that, hey, they know how to do it first for themselves, as opposed to me hire them and they're not doing anything themselves, that they, you know, they're not doing anything themselves like this, and then you're expecting them to do that for your business. It's kind of like, well, not going to work, is because to know something and not to do it is not to know, right? So you want to make sure that someone's doing what you want to do first. So opt into their thing. See how quickly their automations work. See how quickly they contact you and all that type of stuff as well. Really, really important when you're looking to hire someone. Number two, you'd have a look at some of their testimonials. You'd have a look at some of their reviews and things like that. You'd book a session with them, right? And really see, you know, what their knowledge is like. See if you vibe with the people.
Numbers was important, and that was, I think, the thing that was lacking in this person, because the person was doing but was not able to report the process and of course the numbers. Yeah.
And that's what you're looking for in someone when you first bring on board, right? You are one of these 4 personality types that we've spoken about today, right? And you're looking for people that are going to complement those skills as well, but also have skills with what it is that you're looking for results in. So if you're looking to outsource to marketing, we're just using marketing as an example today. We could be using sales, we could be using, you know, hiring people or whatever, right? But we just use marketing because it's easy. It's what we speak about on our page every day. So it's like, you know, the visionary will see where they're going, the engineer will be implementing and all this type of stuff, and you'll be speaking with somebody on the phone, like say this one, for example, right? We know the data for everything because we've done marketing for so many companies now, and we've done sales and systems and automation and everything for so many companies right now. We know what the stats are and what people need to be focusing on. And if people aren't focusing on that stats, or they don't understand their stats, that's the reason why they're not moving forward. There's a block. Okay. So this is why I say that, like, you know, for me, my personality type, I'm very visionary, and I am a connector to a certain extent, and I'm still an engineer to a certain extent, and I still understand all this type of stuff. I can connect the dots still for people and understand why they're not getting to where they want to go. So it's like with that example that you're using, the stats, they didn't understand the stats. They couldn't tell us the stats. Therefore, that's why their business is where they were, because they don't know what's working and they don't know what's not working at the moment because they don't understand the stats. And they haven't got a place that they can look at it every day to understand what it is. So it's like, where are our conversions at? What is our sales team? How many calls are our sales team making? How long is our sales team spending on the phone? How long is our sales team, you know, how many pitches are they making per week? Out of those pitches, how many of them are turning into sales? What products are we selling more of? What is our ad spend to acquire one client?
How many leads are we getting a day?
Exactly, right? All of this is stuff that we must understand as business owners. If we don't understand it, we can't understand why we're not growing. and we can't problem solve our businesses in the proper way that we want it to in order to get the results that we're after, right? And this is why, you know, when a visionary is running the business, right, they won't understand this. An engineer will. An engineer will make it his absolute must do to be able to collate all of this, and the organizer will organize it all into one spot for them, and the organizer will then go, here it all is in one spot. They've got it on spreadsheets and everything. The engineers put the steps together for it, and the organizers collated all the information into one spot, right? And now the visionary can look at it. Now the engineer can look at it and know what's working and what's not working. They can problem solve and make that and tweak that. And naturally then when they tweak that, they're going to get a better result. Because literally this is what business is. It's like statistics. It is predictability to a certain extent. It's predictable to a certain extent, right? Whereas if you understand the numbers and what works out, you can now tweak those numbers and train people in those areas to improve those numbers. And naturally over time, you'll see those numbers increase. And that's all it is. Unconscious competence, right? To conscious competence, where you just do it every single day and you become really good at that skill unconsciously. Competent. Exactly, right? So yeah, so that's like, it's been an in-depth talk today, hasn't it?
Yeah, I thought we were going to have fun. What happened?
Yeah, I thought we were going to have all this banter and, you know, talking about all of this, you know, how you've been doing outsourcing for like a third of my lifetime and stuff, you know, and and you really haven't thrown any banter at me at all yet. I'm wondering what's going on today, Serena.
I have to say, it's really hard to get a word in.
Oh, is it?
Yes. I was just sort of thinking too, the fact that I gave you an extra half hour, you know, to get some time for lunch, whether you're going to start using up that half hour with this as well.
No, we're not. We're going to wrap it up very soon. Because you're keeping me on track with just
I certainly am.
Exactly. So what do you think? Like final notes. You want to do a summary
first? Nobody's asking questions.
Oh, is anybody asking questions? I don't think anyone.
I don't know whether they're engrossed or just not hanging around, or got all the information that there's no questions needed or something like that.
I think we've just given everyone so much information. They're like, yeah, I've got it all now. I'm ready to go.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. So exciting times. This is good. It's good information anyway that we've been able to give with people today. So which is good. So let's do a quick summary. Outsourcing. What do you think? What should people really be doing for outsourcing?
Oh, you're asking me, or are you just?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought we were just going to go through what the summary was of today. What people should be doing. Well, depending on, I guess I've got to think of people who, I constantly do because I relate it back to me, of when you're in business on your own, is, you know, work out in advance certain things that you need to do that you can have prepared for your business. So for example, with what we do with a lot of marketers, I've been thinking we need to get a lot of videos done. So therefore, what sort of videos? Get the videos prepared, get whatever videos you've got on YouTube or something, and get them done up to be specifically set for Facebook ads with your, you know, help in the style that we do it. So prepare yourself in advance of things. What sort of graphics do you want? And then you go to a person that does this and get them organized for you in advance. So you're dealing with not all the time, every time you want one, but you get a whole bunch done at once. That's what I would start to do for some people, because if I'm thinking it's all about marketing, marketing increases your leads. So, and every business survives on getting leads. So focus on the stuff that is going to increase your leads, and then the rest will come.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, like with relation to the VAs that we're speaking about today, just like you would give them a specific task. You find a creative one that's good at the creative, and you would give them the specific task of putting that creative together. Especially if you're a visionary, right, where you're not good at the detail and everything as well, and you're moving forward, you want to outsource that to a virtual assistant to do. All right, to put together things for like the organic side and give them a very direct order, examples of what you're after, and then they go and do that, right? So you would use a virtual assistant for that. And for the normal, say, everyday posting, you would get a separate virtual assistant to do that, but you would give them the creative in advance and the ideas as to what they should be posting and when they should be posting and putting that together, right? Then if you're looking to, you would not use a VA for your paid marketing stuff and implementation of all of that, because that's a completely different separate skill and there's several different moving parts to all of that. You would find somebody who has the expert knowledge, that has done it many, many times, that has a systematic approach, that understands your business, that has the background of, you know, proven results for their clients. You would opt into something of theirs first to see how quickly you get responses and all that type of stuff as well, to be able to get that assistance, right? And someone that's doing what it is that you want to do first in order to get that result, okay?
But
So
just in there, you can get a VA, or if they call it, see, a VA for me is someone who does more than mails and whatever. You can get someone who's, say, expert in doing paid marketing or whatever, but the expertise is a little bit different. I have found that they'll do what they need to do, but there's no thought process in, as you were talking before about the numbers. It's not so much how they look at it, how they can improve whatever. It's just the fact of doing and showing that it's doing. It doesn't go, how can we do this better? Or is it doing what we want it to do? Not everyone's in that mindset. So that's sometimes where the difference can be, why it's better to go to an expert higher up.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So yeah, it's just about like, you got to, like, when you're looking at taking steps to increase the marketing side, you've really just got to get an expert, and you've got to pay good money for those types of people to do it. Just depends on, you know, if you're well, sort of like your business is quite well, like established, and you're turning over decent revenue and all that type of stuff, then you would outsource it completely to somebody. If you're in the early stages, for the other hand, you would just buy yourself a course of some sort, invest in that course, and then you would use the other elements of what you would normally spend with someone to outsource it, invest all the rest of that into marketing and building your brand via Facebook or Instagram or Google or whatever it is that you're using as a platform, instead, to be able to bring in more leads, more sales that way. And then it's just about really, first of all, just about understanding the personality type that you are. And I did see here as well, Maid was saying, I think I'm a bit of a hybrid. Pardon? Made. Apologies. Made. I think I'm a bit of a hybrid. I should focus more on one or two aspects. Yeah, so you will be some of you might find that you're a bit of a hybrid, and you might be a couple of them. Like myself, I go through all of these aspects as well. However, I am better as someone who's talking to people all day, selling, connecting, but more so not connecting from, you know, a joint venture partner across to someone else. So not that type of connector, but connecting, you know, the actual relationship enforced into stone. That's what I'm good at. And me doing more of that every day then turns into the aspect of the business where it will generate more revenue and grow quicker that way, by me focusing on what I'm good at, which is in getting that connection actually done, right? Then it's more so the vision of the bigger picture, several steps ahead as to how we're going to go about, or where we're going as well. That's my two main areas that I'm best at. And SERENA, on the other hand, really good at directing.
All of them.
Pardon?
She's good at all of them.
She's a unicorn. SERENA is a unicorn that can do all of them, definitely. But she's still got 1 to 2 areas that she's best at, right? Which is organizing things, organizing people, getting them organized, and giving direction.
Because everyone thinks I'm a extrovert, but I'm actually an introvert. That's why I like to do behind the scenes type of things. That's why you always get to be front man. But you actually let me out today. I was so surprised. But
yeah, I opened the pen, right? You've come out today, and
no, That's a
having a
plan.
yeah, it's good. It's good. And it's yeah, rough. So yeah, it's all part of it, right? It's a team effort. You got to understand the personality type that you are, right? Because when you start mixing with other personality types in business, that's when you'll move forward a lot faster. It's about understanding all of that. And I understand myself really well. I've done work on myself for almost 10 years. I've always been developing. Like since I ever started in sales 13 years ago, I've been developing and becoming better and getting more skillful in the art of that, as well as marketing and everything too. However, right, I've got my cons to what I'm not as good at, right, over and above. And, every personality type's got that. So it's about understanding which part of it you are within this whole spectrum of these four main areas. And then from there, focusing on what you're really good at and bringing other people in to do what you're not so good at. Brilliant.
That's it.
Anything further you think we should add today? You reckon we've added enough value today?
I think we've gone over time, actually.
We've gone well and truly over time. Yeah, we've gone well and truly.
I don't know, not that there's a set time to it, but there's
just deliver the information and help people. That's all it is, right? So, and look, what I want you guys to do, I want you to follow the page. If you're not following the page yet, make sure that you are, because every single day we're doing this, except for Sundays, right? We do Saturdays though. We work still on Sundays sometimes, right? Because, that's just what you must do when you're in business, right? You must go over and above, right? What you would normally do sometimes to get the result that you're after, right? You got to put in the effort. That's what it's all about. And the effort reaps a return. It's like you reap what you sow, right? The more seeds you sow, the more you will reap in rewards in your business, right? Things don't just come, it comes with action. The whole sort of manifestation of things doesn't happen without the actions in between. So if you're looking to manifest more things in your business, you got to take more action, right? Because you can't just sit there meditating going, I'm going to manifest more clients, I'm going to manifest my business's growth. You got to understand all of this type of stuff. You got to understand the numbers. If you don't understand it, you got to get personality types around you to be able to take care of this for you. So
I think it's important as well too that, because you and I listen to a lot of different things out there. We have our coaches, everything's online at the moment. So even when we're working, we're constantly listening, so it's important even to, 6 days a week, you've got content like, what we give, or you give mostly, and, just out of giving value. And it's always stuff that keeps people in the right mind frame, because at the moment with everything that's going on, and you've always got the media, one with their fake news and their fake fear factor, and when they're talking about recessions and depressions and the big corona thing, and really keeping you in that fear spot, so that your mind can sometimes go down and play into that. Whereas if you keep it constantly motivated, keep it fresh, keep listening to people who are all about focusing forward and not listening to all that stuff, actually creates the very thing like we discussed this morning when I was on a meeting and I said, oh, you took off. And I said, if you take off, someone's going to turn up straight away. And it happened. So you create it. The very thought process, the very words, the very actions create what you want to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, like everyone's got to pull themselves away from like what's going on in the media at the moment. There's a lot of negativity and shit. And you got to start surrounding yourself more with people that are wanting to move forward, because like a lot of clients we're working with right now, they're growing their business, right? They're adding tens of thousands.
They're busy.
Hundreds of thousands. They're doing stuff, right? But they're pulling themselves away from what's going on in the universe at the moment, the riots, all the other bullshit. I don't listen to the bullshit. People update me on it. I'm like, cool, thank you so much for letting me know. I'll take it as a grain of salt that it's going on, and I'm going to focus on what is actually going to get us the result, which is the stuff that we can control, right? In business, we can control our own actions. We can't control what else is going on in the world. We're just one person, right? So we got to focus on what we can control and get around other people that are controlling what they can control as well. And you're embedding yourself into information like we're sharing here every single day with you guys. And this is another like a power session that we've done today, 1 hour, 4 different personality types, helping you guys understand yourselves better, so that now you know, is it better for me to outsource something to an outsourcer, or is it better for me to get an expert, somebody that understands, has proven results, has a systematic approach, is doing it for themselves currently as well, to be able to get the results that we're after as well, okay? All of this is the broad spectrum of what you guys should be focused on. And we're going to wrap this one up. Anything further to add before we wrap it up, Serena?
No.
No. Let's just wrap this one up. Let's scrunch this one up. This one's finished. Yeah. Follow the page. Make sure you're seeing the page first so that you can get the information every day live, 12 o'clock Perth, Western Australia time, every single day. That's 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That is 4 p.m. New Zealand time. That is 12 a.m. Florida, which is the West Coast. Don't ask me what it is, the East Coast. Oh, sorry, that's the East Coast. Sorry. I don't ask me what the West Coast is, because I am unsure. Maybe, sorry?
1 o'clock.
PM?
Yes.
PM. There you go. Fantastic. Tune in the page. Follow the page first. I want you to remember one thing, everybody. If you do not fight for your own freedom, absolutely nobody else will. So every single day you must get out there. Every single day you must take action. Every single day you must make it happen. And remember, work out these 4 personality types. Go over this video over and over again. Listen to it in your car, whatever it is, right? On your phone, while you're going for a walk, whatever. Understand what we're talking about today and really work that out. And then go, okay, am I going to outsource some of my tasks, or am I not going to outsource it? I'm going to give it to an expert. We've given you all of that today. Go over the video. It'll give you that understanding as well. Peace out. See you all soon. And remember, be the warrior you're born to be. Talk soon.
Go for it.